What's happening, everybody? Trey here, and today, reactions to the classics. It's time for a reaction to Primus and their record Pork Soda. And judging by the album cover, man, I think I'm going to be in for a wild ride. I'm looking forward to this, and I want to shout out our longtime patron and friend of the channel, Carl, for bringing this to me today. Carl's brought a few Primus tracks on our live streams that we do every Friday, man. Check us out over at Twitch. It's always a great time listening to tunes and hanging out. And as somebody who loves great bass work, I've always kind of dug the sound I've heard from Primus since they're so bass centric. So I'm looking forward to what we got today and just diving into them as a group and this record in particular. They're an American funk metal band formed in El Sobrante, California, all the way back in 1984. Also notable, they recorded the original South Park theme song, so shout out to Cartman and the gang there. They're characterized by a irreverent, quirky approach to music. In '93, the famed music critic Robert Christgau remarked, "They are quite possibly the strangest top 10 band ever." Good for them. Speaking of a '93, this is came out in April of 1993. Their third record went platinum, so obviously sold quite well. And it contains darker content than their previous efforts, featuring lyrics dealing with murder, such as on the first single, My Name is Mud. We have Suicide on Bob and Alienation on Nature Boy. The band commented that prior to recording, they had been touring for nearly 2 solid years and were thus in a somber mood. Although in a 2015 interview, frontman Les Claypool described this era surrounding the record as good, happy times. It's not like we were reflecting any personal drama or anything. In one of the reviews of the record, they just said that this is one of the strangest records ever to debut in the top 10, and it showcases the band's ever-increasing level of musicianship. All lyrics here are written by frontman and bassist Les Claypool. And we're just going to get this thing rolling, y'all. And we are going to start off with a little 1-2 punch. Pork Chops, Little Ditty, just a 20-second instrumental. And then that's going to go into that first single that came out, My Name is Mud. Lyrics are written from the point of view of a blue-collar man nicknamed Mud. When a man steps on his prized patent leather shoes, the two get into an argument that ends with Mud killing the man, striking him in the head with an aluminum baseball bat. He is now trying to bury the body. And it samples the line, "Where are you going, city boy?" from the film Deliverance. And a little trivia note, during their '94 Woodstock performance, the song came on. The crowd started pelting the stage with mud. And Les Claypool said, "Well, I opened a big-ass can of worms with that one, didn't I?" The song is called My Name is Mud, but keep the mud to yourselves, you son of a bitch. And also in 2010, they released a little remix version of this that is all in Spanish. So as always, y'all, gonna have the lyrics pulled up, gonna follow along, enjoy the tune, and then afterwards give my thoughts. And due to copyright and just just the length, we're gonna chop out the music. But if you want to see the full video with the music, there is a link to Vimeo down in the description below. So we like to have those options open for y'all. Shout out to the patrons and supporters who give us that server space on Vimeo. Much appreciated. Much appreciated again to you, Carl. Heard a few of their tracks before, but excited now to dive into a full record. So let's start this off with a little Pork Chops, Little Ditty, and take that right into My Name is Mud. All right, y'all, My Name is Mud. Bringing the absolute heat. Starting off, just gotta mention Les Claypool's just unbelievable bass work, and it's relentless, man. It comes at you, does not let up. And as somebody who loves a great bass line, man, I'm really, if this is what is in store for the record, man, I think I'm gonna dig it. Kind of blending that, you can already tell that kind of those funk almost time signatures with that harsher metal edge with it. The grooves here were fantastic between Les and Tim Herb Alexander on the drums, man. We even had Larry Lalonde coming in on electric guitar. Those are our 3 dudes in Primus, man. He let the electric guitar shine towards the back half of the track. And in the verses, though, kind of more stripped back instrumentally before, after each verse, man, kind of went with that heaviness. And it fit this theme, man. It fit this darker, almost ominous type of theme we had. And I liked Mud's describing himself at the start. "I'm the most boring son of a bitch you ever seen. I dress in blue, yes, navy blue. I'm just picturing that blue collar worker, hard worker here. He notes then talking about his shoes. Make them shine well most of the time, except today my feet were trodden on by this friend of mine, 6'2" and rude as hell. I got to him in the ground. I got to get him in the ground before he starts to smell. So we already kind of are told in that first verse that this probably didn't end well for this dude. And then in that second verse, we have the fantastic line. We had our words a common spat, so I kissed him upon the cranium with an aluminum baseball bat. Ooh, I just love that. And I love for someone who's maybe so simple as mud, there's a lot of kind of big words thrown in here in these verses as well. And, just kind of really turn the instrumental and the heaviness up a notch towards the end of the track, man. So really enjoyable tune right there, man. And now we're gonna follow that up with track number 3, Welcome to This World. All right, Welcome to This World. Well, definitely turns that quirkiness and kind of odd factor up to 11 on this one, man. Didn't like it as much as My Name is Mud, but still, notice a lot of different kind of time signature changes and, kind of tempo shifts in this track as well. And Les's vocal delivery just kind of brought that point of view of a person who's a little off up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the way, like, kind of stretched out in the chorus, welcome to this world. Like, kind of thought I was about to go into some mad funhouse type of thing, and I might not come back, so to speak. It kind of points this, or paints this kind of, weird out there scene at the start about a world of fools, a pink champagne and swimming pools where all you have to lose is your virginity. Perhaps you'll have some fun tonight. He notes then, kind of brings a little Macbeth imagery in here as well. He says, but if I have my way tonight, and chances are I think I might, I'll turn those sour minds to grapes of wine. And then we get Welcome to This World. Bass work yet again, quite notable, and again adds to that just weird atmosphere that I think Primus was going for on here. So all in all, man, solid tune. That one I might have to hear a couple more times to really vibe with, but instrumentally I was a big fan of it. So now we're gonna go to the next track here, which as I recall from the intro, man, is gonna be a bit heavy about suicide. We have Bob. All right, Bob, heavy tune, bringing it, and I don't think we're gonna get much light affair on Pork Soda here, man. Gosh, and it just with the amount of repetition that I had a friend that took a belt and hung himself, like it is quite the hook, man. It does get stuck in your head. And you have this guy hung himself in the doorway of the apartment where he lived. His woman and his little bro came home from the grocery store only to find him dangling in the apartment where he lived, man. So you can just see in your mind just that horrific freaking situation that must have been. Then he starts to describe him as somebody who shaved his head, put his Doc Martens on, drew wondrous pictures in the apartment where he lived. We keep going back to this apartment. That's kind of the, one of the main themes of this song, and where a lot of, stuff in the song revolves around. He spoke sarcastically, the conversations there in the apartment where he lived, and then it notes that Rock, she thought him spiteful. So I don't know, is that maybe his woman? Larry, he thought him pitiful. Could be his little bro. Me, I've never been back to the apartment where he lived. Maybe it was just too tough, obviously, to go back there and to move on from that situation. Better to just sweep it under the rug, in a sense. And then we just finish with that, kind of going back to that first verse and that repeating little riff that we had. Yet again, man, music really fit that. That something was a little bit off, man. Primus really is able to get that kind of, I don't want to just call it weird, but kind of quirky, weird, off, kind of dark blend all into one, man. They got that musical atmosphere down quite nicely. And so, man, shout out and RIP to Bob. And now we're going to track number 5 here, DMV also released as a single, failed to chart, but the video was featured in Beavis and Butthead. Shout out. It appears to be about the pointlessness of mundane activities such as waiting in line at the Department of Motor Vehicles, going to the dentist, sitting on cold toilet seats, and seeking relief through THC. The lyrics reference the previous record they had, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. All right, man. Well, if any of y'all have ever been to the DMV, especially here in the States, you know what an absolute hassle it is. So let's see what we got here. All right, DMB coming in as track number 5 on here, and I mean it really does stay true to its name, and I can't emphasize enough how I've only had to go to the DMV a few times in my life. How awful it is, how the wait lines are brutal. You just go up there, you get your number, and you pray you're not there for more than a couple hours. And you know, shout out to the DMV people. It's awful going there for one day. I can only imagine what it is to work, and that's why that first line just cracked me up. I've been to hell. I spell it DMV. Anyone that's been there knows precisely what I mean. And then he gets that just weird line. And if I had my druthers, I'd screw a chimpanzee. Call it pointless, man. And then we go talking about his relationship with cannabis here. When I need relief, I spell it THC. Perhaps you may know vaguely what I mean. I sit back and smoke away huge chunks of memory as I slowly inflict upon myself a full lobotomy. You know, I like that he, you know, wasn't coming in, oh yeah, full 420 stoner type of dude. He was known even in what he does to take relief. It's kind of pointless in a sense, man. And then we got the Sail the Seas of Cheese line, man. The dentist chairs, trips to the DMV, cold toilet seats, call it all pointless, man. And last couple minutes, we were just able to really see Les shine on the bass line here. It was just so fiery. It was, yet again, man, I'm running out of ways to praise Claypool's bass playing, but here you could really see that talent shine in that 2-minute instrumental at the end. So shout out to the DMB. Now we're going to go to the old Diamondback Sturgeon. Fisherman Chronicles Part 3, third and final entry in the Fisherman Chronicles, preceded by Fish On from Seas of Cheese and John the Fisherman from Frizzle Fry. It's worth noting that Les Claypool is actually a fly fisherman in his spare time, so might have inspired these tunes. So let's get it. All right, the old Diamondback Sturgeon, man, got an add of heart to that. Story-wise, straight to the point, kind of builds this scene of this Diamondback Sturgeon swimming along, he sniffing around, gotta eat, man. It's the animal kingdom. You gotta go eat. And he ended up finding a golden morsel, a tidbit, a tight bunch of grass shrimp was there right before his eyes. He circled around it, sucked up the savory meal. Then came a jolt to the Diamondback's surprise. Through his lips cut the cold barbed steel. Obviously, he bit right onto the fishing hook, man. And in his panic, he's swimming all around. But the harder he swam, he could still not break free from the tugging that pulled at his mouth. And here, a bit more of a melodic track, and I think that goes to here less, though, bass is still solid. It's not the, kind of in that first, prime spot here on the instrumental. We let Herb, who was fantastic on the drums, and Larry in particular, I think he was the MVP of this track on the electric guitar, especially at the end, just really doing some unique and intriguing things there. And it worked well. It was a pleasant sound, kind of a bit more of a relaxing tune than the first few on the record. And though I've really enjoyed the instrumentals through the first 5 tracks that we've had, I think it's good. Kind of switch it up a bit here at track 6, and then if we want to go all in with the bass in our next couple tracks, we're free to do so. And speaking of that, we're going to the Nature Boy. Maybe not Ric Flair, but Nature Boy coming in, track number 7. Let's see what we got. All right, Nature Boy bringing it, man. And just from the jump, man, you have Les yet again switching up his vocal delivery just a tad on this. And here is where we kind of get somebody who's definitely doesn't fit in, a bit off, a bit quirky, weird, alienated, it seems, from the world, pulling his blinds, taking his clothes off, dancing around the house like Nature Boy. But his genitals and pectoral muscles aren't quite what he would like them to be, but you don't see me, no one can see me. So yet again, that's that refrain is at the end of every verse, and again highlights the fact that this dude's yet again a bit alienated, doesn't really have any, it seems, family or friends around him. He has his kitty. His name is Aloysius. I always butcher that name, but that was the name of Mud, if you remember back at the very start of the record. And then there's a little bit of a kind of sexual innuendos in here as well, a little bit. And he gives a shout out to Ren and Stimpy, man, an old school Nickelodeon cartoon, man, that was awesome back in the day. He has that a bit of pornography, but you don't see me, no one should see me. And then he notes at the end that he's been known to be tell a tale or two, sing a song or two, been persecuted since I sailed through the door, been getting my ass chewed since the day I arrived here. Here Les kind of comes back into being the focal point and the foundation of this instrumental with that bass work, and he had even a little almost like marching drum beat or military drum at the very end by Herb. And man, this track worked for me, man. Yet again, has that quirkiness that on the surface you might not think you'd enjoy, but once you kind of get behind the idea, man, it works for me at least. And now we're going to an instrumental called Wounded Knee, and a drummer Tim Alexander said, I needed a name. I was reading this book called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. It was something I never really thought about before. I mean, how this country came to be. We are taught to be so proud, but a lot of what we have is based on lies and deceit. They only teach you what they want you to know. I hope people will see the title and check it out. Next time you listen to Wounded Knee, try and put the story and music together. The rhythm and the pulse, there's an element of it that is angry, then peaceful. I don't know a lot about Wounded Knee, but I definitely agree with Tim here, man, that a lot of what you're taught in the history books here in the States, man, it's not the full story, man. That's for sure. So let's check out this instrument. Right, Wounded Knee bringing it here, and I'm not going to belabor the point that Herb quoted at the start, but I think that obviously quite the showcase for him, the marimba, not an instrument through these first 7 tunes that you would expect to pop up, but Herb did a great job mixing that just with the other just percussion on this track, man. And it did kind of start off with a more heavier in Herb's estimation, angry rhythm and pulse, and then I think that marimba kind of ramped up, gave a bit of a more kind of peaceful, even almost tribal sense to it a little bit. And man, I don't have too much more to add on it, and other than I think it was an enjoyable instrumental on here, and I think it's good to kind of switch things up on the album. I like how they threw it in here in the middle. And now we're gonna go to the title track, Pork Soda, another shorter one, only 2 minutes 20 seconds. Let's see what we got. All right, the title track, Pork Soda. Quite a harsh tune, just instrumentally, and especially the verses. If I didn't have the lyrics pulled up, I don't know if I would have understood what Les was bringing out here. You had that, it was almost like a car was just constantly revving up, and I don't know what effect they used to be able to make that sound, but that was notable. One of my least favorite tracks up to this point, I just gotta be honest, man. I think it was almost too harsh in a sense. It didn't really work for me, even though some of these one-liners were kind of funny. I think the chorus was the highlight. Grab yourself a can of pork soda, you'll be feeling just fine. With Les's drawl on that chorus, it made it definitely stand out. Ain't nothing like quite sitting around the house swindling down them cans of swine. Yet again, I think this encapsulates just kind of that quirkiness, that weird nature that Primus has, that so many know and love him for. And I've enjoyed a lot of this album. This one kind of a miss for me, but hey, man, you can't win them all. But now we're gonna go up to the Pressman. Let's see what we got. All right, the Pressman bringing it. This one, man, quite intriguing to me. Just that constant little dark down. Like it just kind of underpinned the entire track, man, and it worked quite well. I thought they shifted from kind of that more like slow going and then bringing it all in when the time came. I even mentioned in the reaction, like I could see almost some influence from like 60s, kind of more experimental Velvet Underground. There was a part there that even sounded a bit like White Rabbit from Jefferson Airplane, which was just kind of interesting to me. Obviously, it didn't have psychedelic elements in it, but some of that darkness kind of just hovering over this tune here. And as somewhat of a creative person myself, I related a little to the lyrics of this guy. It's a late night, sitting by the lamp, just typing away, man. Got the cigarettes going. I thought Les did a fantastic job painting a scene, an image in one's mind as they're listening to this. And he knows, man, I write between the lines. I deal with fantasy. I report the facts. Give them to me, please. Just as it kept going, like the pulse is beating louder now. Instrumental kind of started ramping up a little bit. He says, "I am the press man. Acknowledge me." Isn't that how it is, man, with a lot of people in the press, man? That's why I've tried to never, not that I'm part of the press or anything, but you can't get a big head in these situations when you're talking about these artists or whatnot. I respect anybody who puts themselves out there and pursues a creative endeavor, putting out a movie or a record or show or whatnot. Even if I don't like something, I always try to be respectful of that fact, man. But especially in today's world, there's a lot of these press people, man, who like to try to be the show and the star themselves, man. But anyways, all in all, man, an enjoyable tune. And we're going to a song I do know here next. We got Mr. Crinkle, the third single that was released, quite popular, I think back in the day, and I played it on a live stream before, man. So I enjoyed this one. Let's get to it. Hello, Mr. Crinkle. Coming in, man. Again, kind of towing that line between a bit playful with obviously just almost creepy, ominous, and kind of diving in a little bit here. Apparently, Les Claypool said it is about conversations he used to have with Mike Borden, who is drummer of Faith No More, which is funny because I was going to bring up at the very end how I could see little similarities with that Faith No More sound, just how they kind of are a bit of that alternative metal and kind of experiment, and Primus though kind of blend more in that funk metal alternative blend. You can see some similarities, but to this track in general, man, yet again, Les's vocal delivery is a bit notable, just how he kind of talks like this sometimes, and that with the harsh nature of the instrumental, it has that dissonance a part of it, and it just really, I'm gonna bring this word up again, it intrigues you, man. You perk up, even if you're not gonna like what Primus brings. I think that you're at least gonna hear them out for a little bit and see what they got in store, because it is just so kind of off the wall, and unlike especially during this time, a lot of tunes you hear. I like the whole "Do you like the brand new sound?" It's a cross between Jimi Hendrix, Bocephus, Cher, and James Brown. What a blend of sound that would be, and just kind of ends it with the Mr. Crinkle, Mr. Crinkle. Just has that odd nature about it that is for some reason just a bit enthralling, man. And we're gonna go now to "The Air is Getting Slippery." All right, the air is getting slippery. Man, what a yet again a quirky tune up in here. Had the double bass at the start and banjo. Those were really our two driving instruments. So that alone is going to obviously give this a different sound. And I don't know what 100% how I feel about that instrumental, but I think the lyrics made up for it. I thought it was so clever, ending every verse thinking that Les was going to drop the magic 4-letter F-bomb right there, man. I do not mind what I excrete, because I'm here to make a buck, and those that cannot take the heat can take a flying. Forgive me if I hesitate. And he goes into the chorus after that with the "forgive me." So you keep thinking he's gonna say it at the end. He notes too a little throwback to their stuff. If you studied your Floyd properly, you know that pigs could fly. Shout out to "Animals" by Pink Floyd. If you haven't listened to that, man, I would definitely recommended. Pigs on the Wing kind of starts and stopped that. And even a little The Dogs Are Barking Merrily as Jerry Sits on High. Dogs, another track on that. I know Carl's a Floyd fan as well, but he'd rather play Residents, which a bit of a avant-garde 70s group. And then now if you want an encore, you might hear Is It Luck, one of Primus's early hits, man. So I kind of like the meta nature of the tune, referencing their own stuff. And little banjo action in there towards the end. I just thought it was a little bit clever. If sweatiness makes you horny, well, darling, I think you're in luck. Because all this clever banter gives me the urge to, and then you hear the glass shatter, censoring the 4-letter word, man. But, not going to be amongst my favorites, but I still dug it, man, for what it was. I thought, yet again, that experimentation, that just kind of avant-garde nature, it stood out. And Hamburger Train's up next. Instrumental beginning sample is audio of Paul Rubens from the film Nice Dreams. Over 8 minutes long, longest on here. It opens up with the movie quote and then rolls into a nice bass groove. The train theme sticks throughout the song as the guitar makes roaring noises and the occasional train whistle sound. Big time, man. I'm curious to see what they do on this, knowing how great their instrumentals can be. What a trip that was. No pun intended right there. Man, just that bass groove that came in just at the first 5 seconds, it was just laying down and it just kept up the entire time. One of the most bombastic, just in-your-face bass lines on this record, and that's saying something with an album filled with so many bass lines that are notable. I thought the roaring guitar part by Larry here was quite notable as well. Thought they did a good job just messing with the distortion, kind of roaring, revving up, getting ready to go with the train going in there. We kind of stripped it back with a couple minutes left before at the very end really kind of going all in with that harshness and whatnot. Not one I would probably pull out and listen to outside of the record, but I think it works well when you just hear the overall sounds and kind of musical themes on the album. It just kind of brings that together and maybe cranks it up to 11. So all in all, man, hey, I dug it, but I'm a huge fan of bass work, so maybe your mileage might vary on this, but hey, it worked for me, man. And we're gonna finish this off with a little 1-2 punch, going back to Pork Chop's Little Ditty, a minute this time instead of 20 seconds, and then finishing with Hail Santa, which is also less than 2 minutes, which features a banjo, maybe a mandolin, and has a child going on. The pig goes oink, oink, oink. Okay, man. I wouldn't expect anything less than Primus. After that, y'all, I'll give my favorite tracks and overall score to Pork Soda. Pork Chop's Little Ditty and Hail Santa ending us off. Don't have too much to say on these. Pork Chop's Little Ditty had 20 seconds of silence or so, kind of almost, I'm thinking just CD era in the 90s, and almost like you get your little Hail Santa hidden track, even though it's not a hidden track, coming in afterwards. And then, yeah, Hail Santa, man, that thing was tailor-made to put on a horror movie, just with how just kind of off-kilter the strings were being plucked, and with the bicycle horn constantly going, and then the pit goes oink, oink, oink. I could just I can envision some dark room with some freaking ghost or demon coming at you while this was playing, man. So a bit of an odd choice maybe on the surface to end the record, but I think when you've heard all the previous tunes, it kind of makes perfect sense to me that that's how they went out on it. So now, y'all, we're gonna transfer over to my favorite songs on this record. I gotta say, I enjoyed the first half of the album much more than the second half. Nothing against the second half, but I think the strongest tunes were on that first half. I gotta go My Name Is Mud. I know that's not a controversial pick or anything. Bob, I thought, even with the tough subject matter, with the suicide in there, I think that again, instrumentally, just right on point, man, and kind of like the way the story folded out with the fallout of his death. DMV was hilarious to me, just with the cranking down on the DMV and just how awful that is, and making some kind of wise little cracks at how pointless a lot of the stuff we do is. And even the old Diamondback Sturgeon, I thought that was really tight too, and one of the more straight up melodic type of tracks in there with a fantastic drum performance by Herb and Larry killing it on the guitar. And of course, got to shout out Mr. Crinkle as well. And that'll take me now to my overall score of the record. And being that the first half of the album is so strong, second half interesting because we have we have 3 instrumentals kind of to end us off. And then we have Wounded Knee in there as well. So there's 4 instrumentals on here, all to kind of varying quality. I think Hamburger Train is definitely the highlight of that. Then I'd go a little Wounded Knee action, her being able to show off and use the marimba a little bit. You have Mr. Crinkle, though, on that second half, which kind of elevates it a bit. Some stuff on here definitely works to where it's like, this is Primus, okay? This is Primus to a T, and I think Les's bass work is the highlight for me of this record. It makes this record because, some lyricism on here I could take or leave, but when it works, it does kind of nail down that quirky and almost a humorous nature in a kind of dark, twisted way off. All that to say, man, I'm going to 7.25 for me on first listen for this record. I think it's a good album, and especially if you're a fan of this kind of off the wall type of whether you can call it rock or going harder in the metal gear, kind of that experimental avant-garde funkiness even at times. It is quite a unique sound, and you got to tip your cap to Primus for being able to carve out a totally unique sound to them on this record. So let me know your thoughts, y'all, on Pork Soda down in the comments below, your favorite tracks, and where you would put this in Primus's catalog in general, if you're familiar with that. Be sure to give some love to our dude Carl in the comments below as well for suggesting this to us today. Enjoyed it, man. Always love the diversity we have on this channel. If you enjoyed, be sure to give a thumbs up, hit that big red subscribe. We appreciate all of y'all. Hope you have a great day, and until next time, I will see you.